Opening weekend of the NFL playoffs certainly did not disappoint. We have Michael Schur here, a humongous 49ers fan, and Ben Mankiewicz, a humongous fan of Dan Snyder. So a 23-20 win for the 49ers. Excuse me, great way to start. We were talking about Colin Kaepernick and how he made off the air, how he made so many plays with his feet. And he didn't really show me a ton. Even when we were talking about the Vernon Davis touchdown, it looked like it was just floating in there. The other floater he had was intercepted by Tramon Williams, but overall a 23-20 win.
I think there were a couple of floaters. I actually don't think the Vernon pass was a floater. I thought.
Oh, you don't?
No, I thought it was a good.
But he had
throw.
He had Davis wide open again later, and damn near had it picked off. It was such a bad throw.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was a really close play, the one that Ben's talking about. I thought that was where I was really nervous.
I just thought the touchdown pass was staying up in the air forever. I really thought, I don't know who the safety was on that play, but I really thought that he was going to make a quick enough break on it, and he just missed it. He nearly missed intercepting.
Tremaine Brock nearly missed touching the ball that Favre threw for a touchdown as well. But
Favre?
Rodgers. That's
the touchdown to Jordy Nelson.
Yeah.
By the way, JR said Aaron Rodgers kind of looks like Ellen DeGeneres. You agree? I think he kind of does.
Considering the news of the last week, a lot of people have fun with that comment.
Maybe. Kaepernick, 7 carries, 98 yards. Michael Crabtree, as you were talking about, 8 catches, 125 yards. He certainly opens up the offense, as you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, that one huge difference in the 49ers team this year is between the second half of the year, where they've now won 7 straight, and the beginning of the year, they have Crabtree back. And he and Kaepernick have he and Kaepernick have a connection they put together last year that's worked. It's beginning to work well.
When Kaepernick took over last year was the first time that you thought, oh, that guy looks like a first-round draft choice with Crabtree. And then not having him in the beginning of this year, you were left wondering, hey, what's wrong with the Niners? They look so great on offense. And they don't look like they looked at the end of last year, but they look much better than they did in the first half. Much better,
unquestionably. And Jim Harbaugh, Niners coach, has said over and over that he's never seen hands like Michael Crabtree's, and he reiterated it after the game yesterday. I mean, he just says he's got the best.
That's what he had going for him in college.
Yeah.
He's not that fast, but he'll catch everything.
He also had Graham Harrell going for him at Texas Tech. So 4 straight wins for San Francisco against Green Bay. I was listening to
2 of them in Green Bay, notably.
2 of them in Green Bay.
3-4, 3-5 now in their last 8 home playoff games. So that mystique a little bit gone. They won their first 13 home playoff games over the course of the franchise, and now they're 3-5 in the last 8.
One criticism I heard on sports radio this morning was that Aaron Rodgers held on to the ball too long at times. Did either of you guys see that at all? Except for the plays where he evaded the rush and made fantastic plays with his feet.
He held on to the ball a lot where he was like you're pointing to, he was able to evade that rush. That was good holding on.
He got both touchdowns out of doing that. I mean, he should have, both touchdowns in that he set it up, on the 4th down play that he hit Randall Cobb with. And then he had 2 huge 4th down throws to Cobb, both out of sort of saving the play.
The offensive line getting away with holding calls left and right.
That's what he does. That's what he's great at.
And maybe they were confusing him with Nick Foles, who held on to the ball too long.
Right, and doesn't do anything.
And then isn't able. I mean, he's young.
And he did have one huge play where he, got the ball to Deshaun Jackson, his first catch. That was a truly great throw. I thought he was throwing the ball away. It turned into a 50-yard completion.
It was fantastic. But we'll get to that game. I'm sure.
We'll get to it.
But that's the difference between a quarterback holding on to the ball. I'm a guy who thought Brett Favre was playing yesterday, so don't ask me. But honestly. That's the difference.
There were a lot of Brett Favre plays over the course of this opening NFL playoff weekend. A lot of shovel passes left and right.
A lot of shovel passes where the announcers would just faint if Brett Favre had did it. But it turns out it's a good play. It's a smart.
By the way, can you give me an example of what that would sound like if that were Brett Favre?
Yeah, well, but Favre, as we know, and Michael doesn't like Favre, and I think one of the reasons Michael doesn't like Favre, although Michael probably knows better why Michael doesn't like Favre, is something that has nothing to do with Favre, but it was the way we treated Favre.
Can you give us an example of what the announcers would say?
Favre would make that same play, and they'd be like, and Favre scrambles, oh, the shovel pass to Kuhn! Oh my goodness, Favre, he's thinking.
And that's why these Packers are just unbeatable. There's never been something like this. This is an element of football like we have never seen. Watch this guy, folks. Watch this career.
He will make it a left hand, and he shoveled the ball. Other quarterbacks don't even use their left hand. They put it in their pocket.
And what happened when Alex Smith did it against the Colts?
That's a shovel pass from Smith.
Nice play by Smith.
Yeah.
By the way, the Packers were 3 for 11 on third down, so that certainly didn't help. We were talking about the defense.
Yeah, go ahead. Real quick. First of all,
Yeah.
remember that the Niners defense is not the Bears defense. The Niners defense is maybe the best defense in football. Statistically, it didn't show up that year, but I suspect in a big game, you're pretty happy with the Niners defense. If you're a Niners fan and nobody wants to. So
should we ask the Niners fan?
No, but they're a great defense, so that's one reason why the Packers went 3 of 11 on third down. One thing that I noticed that I think is interesting about Kaepernick, who ran 7 times for 14
98
yards a carry, right? Who makes such great plays with his feet.
Yeah.
I don't remember one play in the game where he did what we saw Alex Smith do so well, what we saw Aaron Rodgers do so well, and the one Nick Foles play. I don't remember one play where he used his feet to then complete a big pass.
Right.
And that's like when he adds that to his game, when he's able to move around, the way Alex Smith sometimes, Andrew Luck too, but the way Alex Smith sometimes just in that game, he'd be rushed and he'd be like, he'd just move his hip a little bit and step up and buy himself more time. Kaepernick will run for 100 yards that no one else will do. But
and Cap did that more last year.
I agree.
You know?
That's really what's missing is the running around the pocket, and then all of a sudden there's Michael Crabtree or Vernon Davis by themselves because nobody can hold coverage that long, 25 yards downfield.
And he doesn't have markedly more time this year. I mean, it hasn't. You know, it's. So
the offensive line play has improved, is what you're saying?
No, I think it's stayed the same. I don't know that it's improved. If anything, maybe it's slipped a little bit this year, but not noticeably. I mean, not noticeably. I think it's Kaepernick.
Defenses have figured it out better, and he can always run. But he hasn't quite figured out
Don
the way.
Capers, as you were saying.
Right, except for in Green Bay. But he hasn't quite figured out a way to escape and make a big pass. But my hunch is that it'll come. It just comes with games.
What I liked about Kaepernick was that, excuse me, we saw a little something that we saw last year, and it was the confidence to say, I'm reading the entire defense. I see that it's man-to-man. Oh, there's an alley right there for me to run. And then he just took off with no hesitation at all. He has so much confidence in himself, and when he has that confidence, and he's making those smart reads right away, it shows how dynamic they are.
Here's the difference, Rick. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with you. Like I see, because, well, you know, I see that other quarterbacks do the exact same thing. He's just a gifted athlete.
I was going to say they don't have the speed.
Who does it better than the others? So it seems more dazzling, more look, you pick a route and there he goes. They're very, you know, there are not many quarterbacks who can do that as well. I mean, he's got like that Randall Cunningham kind of, you know, where he'll see something and then he's flying down the field.
I just don't see it quite the same way. I think he does hesitate, and I think sometimes he's such a good athlete.
But yesterday, I didn't see him hesitate once. I've seen it throughout the entire year that he's hesitated.
I saw some hesitation. I didn't. I saw what I always saw, just that he made plays. He's a great athlete. I think that's why when you see him, I don't think we're just buying into media hype. I think you see it and think, man, there's like we saw it some last year. Like there's a level that this guy might get to, which would make him consistently one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the league, and a game changer at any moment. And because again, the throws, the inability to make plays on the run with his arm that he did so well last year. But yes, sometimes, no question, he made some great reads. He stayed in bounds on a couple of runs that
got him like 6 or 8 more yards.
First down.
Right, like he gets the first down, you're like, okay, great, and then he got 19 more yards. You know,
even on the 3rd and 8 on the final drive. I mean, that was arguably the biggest play of the game when he got the first down.
It could be also, I mean, that the 49ers have relied on the run more this year than they did last year. I mean, they were always relying on Frank Gore, but you know, because of their personnel issues this season, it was a little different without Crabtree.
20 for 66, I believe.
Hurt.
Frank Gore.
Yeah, Frank was had 60 some odd yards yesterday. But I'm just talking about in general that has made Kaepernick a little uncertain about running and whatnot, because when he has the ball, he's been charged with passing, and there hasn't been the passing.